So the server asks you if you want to add guacamole. Instinctively, you say no. Then you contemplate ending it all. Alright guys, so this week we're making some guacamole and some pico de gallo. So you're going to need yourself some avocados, some jalapeno peppers, a couple limes, a couple lemons, some tomatoes, either yellow or red, Romas or big ones, doesn't matter. Get yourself some cilantro, some garlic, some onions, some tortilla chips if you want to snack on this later, some pepper, and some kosher salt. Step one, as usual, crack open a nice ice cold crispy boy. Get yourself a couple glass bowls. Don't use metal. The Pico de Gallo tomatoes will interact with the metal and make it funky. Just don't do it, okay? Check your avocados before you buy them. Make sure they're nice and soft. This one's almost a little bit too soft. But they should have a little bit of give. They shouldn't be rock hard. And you're just going to take your avocados, cut them in half, give it a little twist, and it comes right apart. Then take your knife and make 5-6 cuts from the top to the bottom without going through the skin. Okay, you don't want to cut yourself. Don't be stupid. Okay, and then make 2 cuts the other direction. Get yourself a spoon and scoop that shit out. If you use hard avocados, it's not easy to do this, and that's the main reason. I mean, obviously they don't taste that great either. Now to get the pit out, just take your knife, give it a little whack and a twist, and if you want to be safe to get that pit off of there, just smack it against something, throw that out. I'll show you this once more, okay? Make a few cuts from the top to the bottom through the flesh of the avocado. Turn it 90 degrees and make 2 more cuts. Get yourself a spoon and spoon it into your bowl. It's that easy. Alright, do this with all of your avocados. I'm doing 7 until you have a full bowl of diced avocados, just like this. Then put your avocado off to the side and start working on your tomatoes, okay? You're going to cut your tomatoes in half. Then you're going to do 1 cut this way and 1 cut the other way. Get that little triangle of stem off the tomato, okay? Do that with both halves. And then you're going to want to make 2 or 3 horizontal cuts here across the tomato. Then you're going to want to make a couple cuts from the top down. Rotate it 90 degrees and make a few more cuts, okay? So this is how you dice a tomato. Trying to do it pretty fine here because with Pico de Gallo, you want it pretty small. You don't want big chunks. Okay, if you're a bit of a baby, you can cut it off 1 piece at a time. Take those pieces and chop them up separately, okay? This is for those of you with shitty knife skills. Just chop that up nice and small. Get rid of that one in the bowl. And so this is a Roma tomato, okay? This is what you should be using for the whole recipe if you can. I was just using up some other tomatoes from the garden, okay? Cut that Roma in half. Cut the tips off. That gets rid of the stems as well. And then instead of doing it this way, you're going to want to cut it into quarters lengthwise. And with these Romas, you want to get rid of that inside seeds and all that juice in there. You don't want Pico de Gallo to be too wet, okay? You want it to be relatively dry, so you want to get rid of all the seeds and the crap that's in there. It doesn't taste bad, it just gets too sloppy. Okay, throw that shit in the garbage or put it in whatever else you want instead. Okay, then you're going to take these quarters, slice them in one direction, turn them 90 degrees, and slice them in the other direction, just like you did with the other tomato pieces. Don't be a dumbass, don't cut yourself. Take your time. Do that with all these pieces. And do that with the rest of your tomatoes until they're all gone. Just to touch on knife skills here, guys. Make sure you take your time with this. Don't push yourself too much. Don't try and rush it. Don't try and do it as fast as I can if you can't, okay? It takes years to get good at it. You got to practice. But make sure you're careful. Don't cut yourself like a stupid idiot. You don't want that. Once you're done that, you got a full bowl of tomatoes and avocados. A little bit of water in that tomato. You want to drain that off. Like I said earlier, you don't want Pico de Gallo to be soggy. Okay? Take your bowls, put them to the side. We're going to dice a couple onions. I only ended up using 1.5 onions for this. I showed you guys how to dice an onion last week. If you haven't figured it out by now, just give up, okay? Same thing. Root on one end. This one you want to dice a little bit more fine. You want smaller pieces in your guacamole and your Pico de Gallo. So dice this up real good. Chop the end up. So the great thing about Pico de Gallo and guacamole is they both have the same ingredients. So you just have to cut all these things up and put them into both, and you have 2 separate dips from one whole set of ingredients. See how it's nice and fine? That's what you want. Split that up between your tomatoes and your avocados. All right, now you're going to mince up 4 cloves of garlic. So crush them, peel them. Chop them up real small. Rock your knife over it until it's nice and finely minced, and then split that between both bowls as well. Now we're going to chop up a couple fresh jalapenos. Chop the tops off of those. Keep your area clean all the time. Very important. All right, cut these in half. This one doesn't look too great on the inside. The seeds are kind of brown. So we're just going to put that flat on the cutting board and use our knife to cut out the core with the seeds and all. This is also a good way to make your jalapenos a little bit more mild. If you don't want this too spicy, get rid of the seeds. That's usually the hottest part, okay? Throw that in the garbage. Then just like you did with your tomatoes earlier, you're going to slice this in one direction and then slice it in the other. Now with this one, you want it to be very, very fine, okay? You don't want big chunks of jalapenos in your guacamole or your Pico de Gallo. Take your time with it. Chop it up. Don't cut yourself. When you're done with this, make sure you wash your hands, okay? Don't touch your pecker. That's going to burn. So turn that 90 degrees. Chop it the other way. And you get this nice, finely minced jalapeno. If you want, you can rock your knife over it again to make it even smaller like you did with the garlic. That's up to you. I'm able to get it small enough that it's not a big deal. With the second jalapeno, I'm going to chop it up with the seeds because I like a little bit more spice. And I'm going to split these 2 jalapenos evenly between the 2 bowls. One with seeds, one without. Then you're going to take your cilantro, discard any mushy brown leaves, wash it first, chop it up loosely first, and then rock your knife over it. Nice small pieces. And divide this between your 2 bowls. Save a little bit on the side for garnishing. Then you're going to take your lemons and limes and give them a good roll on the countertop. This helps get the juice out of them more easily. Cut them in half, okay? Make sure you cut them in half, not end to end, okay? Crossways. Then you can dick around with one of these stupid juicer things and pick out the seeds afterwards, or you can just do it old school. Just squeeze it in your hand. Use your fingers to let the juice through and catch the seeds. Maybe don't do this if you got any cuts on your hands. It's going to sting. And now we're pretty much all set. We got all our ingredients here except we're going to add some kosher salt. A good pinch to both. And we're going to grind some black pepper in there too. All right, now give your Pico de Gallo a good mix. That's all ready to go. You can put this in the fridge for a couple days at least. It does taste better after you let it sit for about 15 minutes. Make sure you give it a taste. See if it needs any more salt. Here's a good trick. Get your potato masher and use that to mash up your guacamole. Okay? You better have one of these. Every house has one of these. Have you ever made mashed potatoes? It's the easiest thing you can ever make. All right, just mash this up to whatever consistency you want. I like it nice and chunky. Make sure you give it a good mix afterwards. Give it a taste. See if it needs more lemon juice, more salt, more heat. You can add more jalapenos if you want. And this is all set to go. So I'm just going to have a quick snack here. I'm going to plate this up with a couple little bowls. Put the guacamole in one. Put the Pico de Gallo in the other. Some tortillas. You guys, you can eat this with tacos, fajitas, nachos, pretty much any Mexican thing, anything you want, really. I mean, you can put this on top of a burger. Top it with a little bit of that fresh chopped cilantro that you saved. Throw some chips around there, and you're all set. You guys got lucky this week. We didn't make that much of a mess. Take this time to like and subscribe if you want. If you don't, I don't give a shit. I'm probably going to try and do this every week. At least one recipe a week. Yeah, if you have any suggestions, anything you want to see, put it in the comments below. Yeah. See you later.